Everyone, happy Labor Day out there. Of course, it's September 5th, 2011. It's a Monday, but you are off, but the weather never is, and so therefore, I am here. Well, we're going to start off first with the surface map, and basically this is from the SPC, Severe Prediction Center, and it's excellent to take a look at this feature right here. We have a cold front that is stalling out, and you can see over much of the northern mid-Atlantic, there is plenty of low-level moisture setting up throughout the region. Notice the winds are coming in off the Atlantic, and as a result, our dew points are increasing. And although the temperatures aren't really all that oppressive, with temperatures in the 70s for the most part, the dew points, well, they're getting up there. They're getting up there into the mid 60s to lower 70s, and as a result, it's rather humid outside. So what are we going to do with all this moisture in the air? Unfortunately, it's going to rain, and rain a lot. Now, I want to show you the water vapor satellite picture, and notice a few interesting features here with this water vapor. First of all, we have our Hurricane Katia, and this hurricane is going to be trouble, I think. I'm going to explain why in just a few minutes, but this is going to be something to keep an eye on throughout the week. But of course, let's focus along the East Coast. We have a cold front becoming a stationary boundary, and the reason why it's becoming a stationary boundary is because of the upper level winds. Notice all the upper level winds are running parallel, not perpendicular, to the surface cold front. Now, when you have upper level winds running parallel to a cold front, that means that there's nothing to push the cold front along, and therefore the cold front just basically stalls out. Notice there really isn't much of a progression to the east of all this upper level moisture setting up over the Great Lakes all the way to the East Coast. And of course, we have the remnants of Tropical Storm Lee that is interacting with this boundary that will produce a very important feature in the forecast, which is an upper level low. Now, initially, all this moisture is going to move to the northeast and move right towards the northern mid-Atlantic and produce a very heavy rainfall event for basically tonight all the way on through Thursday, with rainfall amounts exceeding 2 inches for most locations in the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area, possibly pushing as much as 4 or 5 inches of rain in portions of eastern Pennsylvania and northwestern New Jersey due to some enhancement of orographic lifting. If you're on eastern Long Island and eastern Connecticut, I think you'll see less rain, but still at least an inch of rain is going to fall. And of course, with the river basins being so stressed, all this moisture moving north, that means we're going to be dealing with the potential for flash flooding. Now, I did mention the point that this feature, this developing interaction between what's left of Lee and this disturbance over here, will form a very important upper level feature, an upper level low that will develop right around the Ohio and Tennessee River Valley. And that upper level low, combined with this disturbance over here, is going to have a major impact on the track of Hurricane Katia. Now, notice the forecast right now from the NHC basically takes Katia to basically towards Bermuda and then recurves it out into the Atlantic. And right now, I pretty much agree with that forecast. But let me show you a scenario that might lead to a more significant impact from this hurricane. First, I just want to show the radar. In case you were wondering, all this rain, all of it, is moving in our direction. Now, for today, I don't expect any severe weather because the atmosphere is so warm from the surface all the way up to 500 millibars that we're dealing with a stable, generally saturated air mass. So we're kind of dealing with tropical type showers and thunderstorms that produce very heavy downpours. You get a quick half an inch of rain out of this type of scenario. But for the most part, the potential for severe weather isn't there because you don't have much in the way of shear. And again, the atmosphere is relatively stable. So what we're going to be dealing with is that if you're along the coast, you're going to end up mostly dry for today. But watch out for a few of those pop-up showers to develop, especially this afternoon. That will produce a 30-minute heavy rainfall. As you move towards the Delaware River Valley and points to the west, like much of eastern Pennsylvania, these showers and thunderstorms will continue to increase in coverage today and will become heavy at times. if you have a barbecue over eastern Pennsylvania, unfortunately you're going to be dealing with a lot of scattered showers and thunderstorms. If you're to the east of the Delaware River, though, for the most part, you'll be able to squeak out your picnic or outdoor barbecue, but you will have a threat of a shower or thunderstorm regardless. And then, of course, all this rain is going to be approaching tonight all the way on through Thursday, producing a significant flash flooding threat for the entire northern Mid-Atlantic. If you're living in northeastern New Jersey right now and you're near the Raritan or Passaic rivers, be prepared for flash flooding once again. We all know that the river basins are stressed already, and also the water table throughout the entire region is pretty much saturated. So even if you don't live by a river, you're still going to be dealing with some flash flooding problems, maybe some water in your basements, urban flooding because the storm drains are too stressed right now. So unfortunately, more rainfall is on the way. Now, as we drop down to the tropics, here's Katia, and you can see that our hurricane is getting rather impressive now. We finally have convection developing around this very large eye. Now, the next sign of intensification is going to be if this eye starts to shrink and you get these red colors really starting to expand around the entire center of Katia, then we're dealing with a major hurricane, in my opinion. I think that this hurricane is probably going to be upgraded to a strong Category 2 or Category 3 status by the 11 a.m. update, which should be out any moment now. So I'll tell you what, let's go take a look. Let's go take a look and see what we have with any updates from Katia. And do we have 11 a.m.? We have 11 a.m. and winds are up to 110 miles per hour now. Let's see, let's get to the public advisory. Here we are. 110 miles per hour. The winds, the pressures have dropped down to 965. So we're dealing with a strong Category 2 hurricane moving to the northwest, probably becoming a Category 3 hurricane. So that's live right in the spot, checking out the latest data. So as you can see, Katia is strengthening, and it's becoming a rather impressive hurricane. And this is pretty much going to set up a very, very interesting forecasting question moving forward throughout the week. Because there are several factors here. One, Katia is developing its own little atmospheric circulation with the anticyclone developing over the hurricane, par for the course for major hurricanes. So the question lies as to just how much influence this trough is going to have in turning Katia. Right now, again, most model guidance suggest that Katia will get awfully close, produce a lot of wave actions along the New Jersey coast and Long Island, strong riptides as well, but then get kicked right out into the northern Atlantic. In fact, we see that with the European model guidance right here. A lot of rain, our upper level low sitting over the southern Ohio and northern Tennessee river valleys, and it gets pretty close to the coast, very close call. This trough right here picks up Katia, and as a result, goodbye, kicks it right out, kind of like a soccer ball. But remember the last hurricane where there was a question whether it would kick it or trap it? Well, now we look at the Canadian model guidance. Canadian model guidance are upper level low, setting up around the Ohio River Valley, but it starts to drop a little bit more to the southwest. Our trough isn't as deep. And what do we have at 90 hours? Well, instead of kicking Katia out, let's see, here we go. Instead of kicking Katia out, it instead traps it, and our upper level low grabs it, and as a result, takes it right into the coast. Now, right now, I am not forecasting this, but I want everyone to be aware of the threat. The difference between this forecast and the European model guidance forecast is a matter of miles, okay? A matter of miles. And as a result, if this feature drops a little bit more to the southwest, then we end up with a far different track and one that takes it right into the New Jersey coast and the New York City metropolitan area. Again, this is not the current forecast, but I want everyone to be aware of the threat for the end of this week. That way no one's caught off guard. So if you already made preparations because you thought that Hurricane Irene wasn't that bad, but you still wasted, quote unquote, wasted all the money to prepare for it, well, who knows? Now maybe you might get the chance to use that those supplies you bought. So we're going to keep an eye on this threat because it is a viable threat. Again, the forecast for now is going with the European guidance, which makes it a close call but kicks it out into the Atlantic, and we dry out for the weekend. But for now, we're going to keep an eye on this hurricane and the development of this upper level low. Because if this upper level low is stronger and a little bit further to the southwest, then Katia becomes a real threat. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Thank you for trusting in NYNJPA Weather as your severe weather source for the northern mid-Atlantic. I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. Have an excellent Labor Day and save the hot dogs and hamburgers for me later.